right, hello traders. We are back. This is Even I Can Trade, and we are about 45 minutes from market close today. It's towards the end of the year. And I was doing a little bit of research on some of my past videos, and I discovered that my video talking about how to combine zero DTE options trading and the concept of compounding your wealth to build wealth had done the best by far of any of my other videos. And nothing could make me happier in that regard, because that's my favorite subject to talk about. I love talking about building wealth and generational wealth, right? And I think that trading spreads and selling options is probably one of the most effective ways to do that, especially if you're starting with a little bit of money. So I wanted to expand on that topic and put more content out there in that direction and kind of update you on my thoughts in that regard. So the first thing I wanted to take a look at is my compounding spreadsheet right here. But first, I wanted to kind of show you where can you get access to the spreadsheet if you want to do some of this planning for yourself. So you're going to find that in my Discord right here. There's a link in the description of this video. And once you log in, you're not going to see all of these channels, all the ones with these little stars on them. Those are premium channels. And one of those channels is going to be tools. So to get access to the tools channel, you're going to need some type of subscription to get access to the channel. It can be the cheapest one. It doesn't really matter which one, but some sort of just subscription, and that will get you access to tools, where you'll find the link right here. But you don't need a subscription to get access to the Discord, just certain channels. But once you do that, you'll see this right here. And let me tell you right now, y'all aren't gonna find nothing on the internet at the time of this recording like this sheet. There is nothing out there. The reason why I made this sheet is because there's nothing out there that comes close to the data that this provides. Okay. It's fantastic. It really is. And I don't know why more stuff like this isn't out there, but that's fine. It's here. Okay. You can get it through me. But anyway, the way I currently have it set up right now is saying that we are going to have starting capital of, of about $18,000. And out of that starting capital, we're only going to use 50% of that starting capital to actually trade with, and we're going to save half of it in reserve. Okay, so this is your reserve. Now, when you see these little tabs, these little triangles on the corner, these are tool tips to kind of tell you what each thing is for, what each column is for, so you don't have to guess, or you don't have to go back to this video or one of the other videos to see what in the world is he talking about. All right, so our initial thing is going to be 50%. We're going to use 50% of our capital to trade with, and that is my maximum recommendation as far as how much of your capital you should use for trading. This is a mistake, an early rookie mistake I made when I started trading, was I got a wad of cash and I started trading with the whole thing and got blown up and wiped out and had to start over again, right? So no more than half of your cash, and this itself should diminish as your account grows. Okay, so down to 40%, 30%, maybe all the way down to like 10 or 20% or something like that, but definitely no more than 50%. And there's specific reasons why. I've talked about that in other videos, but 50% is the max. So we're going to start out with 50%. We're not going to save any of our proceeds anymore. We're going to dump all of our proceeds back into our trading going forward for a little while. That's what these zeros are for. So we're not saving anything else other than this initial capital for a little while. We're going to start with 10 wide spreads. Okay, that is going to give us a maximum of 9 contracts that we can trade with. And every time we accumulate $1,000 of profit, we're going to dump that into more contracts. That's where our compounding is going to be coming from. Okay. And the rest of this, you can just kind of ignore most of this. Our stop loss, this kind of tells us what our stop loss should be. This is coming from our risk multiple. So this is basically 3.25 times our profit. So this tells you what you should be loaded up for your stop loss at that particular time and how much you can expect on a loss. Now, stop losses aren't, concrete, so it could be a little bit more than this, just depending on what the market does, but this will give you a good idea. All right, and credits per contract. This is how much you can expect per contract when you're actually going into your system to fill your orders. This is how much you can expect to put in that you are trying to achieve as far as your credit. Okay, and that number is going to be driven by this number. This is your user data column. So you're basically, right now, the way I have it set up, you're trying to get 1.5% profit per day. Okay, so all of these numbers that I have loaded in here are pretty refined over a lot of trial and error. If you watch my channel, so this is kind of loaded in with my latest thinking as to how I'm going to try to grow things. Okay, so once you load this up, you can see just how quickly you can grow. If you want to look at this column right here, this is going to be your total account value as it grows. And instead of scrolling all the way down to kind of find later numbers in months and years and stuff like that, I kind of took snippets of that and put it on this top part right here. So you can see in 3 months, the goal is to get to 28,000, 6 months, 50,000, 9 months, 88,000, and 1 year, 146,000. Now, a key thing to understand is you're not going to get there. Don't expect to. This is perfect trading, and you're not going to have perfect trading. So what you want to do is kind of refer to a formula such as this, where you're going to have a profit expectation of a certain amount. Now, the way that I'm trading right now, my profit expectancy is going to be about 40%. I expect to lose 1 trade per week. We just talked about this on, I think 2 videos ago, so you can refer to that, where I went all through this. But I'm really expecting a 40% profit annually after all is said and done, all the losses, and I'm expecting 40 losses a year and 160 winning trades. Okay. Now, this is a little bit conservative because my win rate is much higher than 80%, but this is kind of like a worst case scenario type of situation that I want to load in. So I'm expecting hopefully to do better than this, but at least 40% profit is what I'm kind of going after right now. So you can play with these numbers and see if you can get to that 40% profit number. One way to do that is kind of front load your losses into this spreadsheet. I'm still figuring out the best way to do that, because if I take money away from some of these numbers, it jacks up the whole thing. So I'm still getting there, but just know for right now, when you're messing with the sheet, these numbers, this is perfect trading, but it gives you an idea. Now, there's no reason why you can't have a run of 1 or 2 or 3 months of perfect trading. There's no rule that says you can't. Like right now, we're in the Christmas holiday season, the Santa rally's on, all of that kind of stuff. The market's very calm. This is a really, really good time to put on trades without a lot of volatility, a lot of catalysts going on, a lot of news in the market rocking things. So you can have, weeks and weeks on end with perfect trading at, certain times throughout the year. So there's no reason why you can't, but you just don't want to expect it. You don't want to set expectations based on these numbers without factoring in, you're going to take some L's here and there. All right. So one other thing that I've got loaded in here as well, if you scroll to the right, I've got a couple other numbers like your running profit numbers, so you can kind of see what your running profit is from your initial number. So if you want to see where you will be at 40%, you can just scroll down here to 40%. See that you'll be at about $25,000. This is probably where you'll end up at the end of the year, based on some of those numbers. Actually, maybe 50% or something like that. 50% is probably more realistic at where I'm trading, as long as you can avoid certain things like Fed Day. So, but the point is, you'll be doing pretty fine, right? But if you're trading really good and you're avoiding a lot of stuff and you're sticking to your stop losses and everything like that, you know, maybe you'll be even further down. Who knows, right? But yeah, so I wanted to kind of update the thinking on this and where you could be. You can be even more conservative with your trading than this. This takes numbers all the way down to 5 cents per contract if you want to go that low. Trades do go off, you know, that low. It also factors in commissions. So you got your commissions right here per contract. So mine factors in to be somewhere around 93 cents per contract, something like that. You can do this based on if you want to look at individual spreads or if you only do condors. You can, you know, all you have to do is go into your trading platform, see what your fees are for how you normally trade, and just load that number right here. And this will give you a realistic look after fees at what your profitability will be, which is going to be in this column for those trades. So this is automatically going to compound your trading for you. It's going to tell you when you should compound. It's going to tell you what you should look like by a certain time and place to see if you're on track to hit a larger number down the road. And you can see that if you look at this growth column. So this, every time this says 1,000, it's time to add another contract, and adding another contract is the compounding. So you can see if we scroll down, those 1,000 numbers get closer and closer and closer. That is compounding in effect, and they continue to get closer until all you see is 1,000 back to back, and then you start to see some 2,000s in there. And that 2,000 means that you're going to grow by 2 contracts at that particular point in time. Okay. So we're going to keep going down and until it starts to say 3,000. So this is when you're really, really cranking away once you can compound at this rate right here. Another trick that you can do is you can widen out your spreads. I particularly don't like to trade many contracts. So I would prefer wider spreads to widen out my spreads to reduce my contract size. That's something that you can play around with as well if you wish. The sheet automatically does that for me right here. So you can see we're at 25 wides and it goes out to a certain amount. I actually went into the software to see in the actual options contracts themselves to kind of see what's realistic as far as what trades could actually go off at these widths. And this is what I came up with until you had to start trading naked. So this kind of already does all of that work for you. But you can see the numbers get real stupid, man. They really get stupid once you get up to a couple of years of this, if you can survive. And that's really it right there, right? So right now we're kind of at the end of the beginning. The end of the beginning is when you're not losing money. You're not, you know, taking off to the stratosphere or anything like that. You're kind of treading water and treading water for a while. So at first, like my journey was put money in, lose the money, put more money in, lose the money, put more money in, lose the money, take notes. What went wrong? What can I do differently? Put more money in, lose the money. Oh, there's another big lesson I need to learn. So now I'm at the point where put money in, don't lose the money, but don't make a ton. You lose the profit. So I'm at that point where I'm losing profit and not losing principal. And I'm not having to add new money in anymore. I've been trading with the same money for like 2 years. It's just that I'm treading water. Okay. So, and not literally trading water. I'm at a profit, but I'm not at, 50%. I'm at like 10. And a lot of that is because I was doing the experiments, I was, trying, different things out. The long-term trade, that blew up. Some of the wheel trades, those are very slow trades when you don't have a lot of money in them. So that was sucking away potential profitability because of, that capital was going over there to those trades and stuff like that. So there was a lot that was kind of holding me back But I'm glad I did them because I learned from them, because I don't want to be doing this style of trading with a ton of money, right? Because it's relatively time consuming when it doesn't have to be when you have a lot of money, right? You can just do, safer trades and all that. But anyway, I'm glad I did them, but those experiments took away from my main meal train, so to speak, right? So now I'm focused in, homed in, zeroed in only on 0 DTE and 1 DTE. And we're chugging away right now, right? We're chugging away. You can see, I'll pull this over here so you can see. This is today, and this is a typical day right here, making about $100 to $200 a day, something like that. I've made up for the last experiment that blew up, which was the long-term trade. That blew up on Fed day. That was another lesson learned, is don't have a long-term trade end on a Fed day. But my 0-1 DTE trading made up for that loss, and now we're ready to catapult going forward into the new year and all that kind of stuff. So things are looking up. I've got, my stop loss discipline in place that is working. The newest experiment is a lower stop loss, stopping at 50 cents instead of 80 cents. So we'll see how that works out for us. But right now, we're not even getting challenged. And I kind of feel like if I'm going to get stopped out at 80 cents, I'm going to get stopped out at 50 cents. I don't remember seeing the market stop, go up to like 50 cents and then go back down. So we'll see. That'll be nice to lose less on those days. But yeah, everything's chucking along right now. I'm hoping that this last little trade fills. This is a put that I hung on for today, and I only got one contract filled out of 7, so that sucks. But at least if I got one, it's still sitting there. But yeah, this is what we're looking like. This is a typical day, and making $100, $200 a day extra, it's not bad, right? Now, it'll be nice once I can start adding some contracts, boost that up to 9 contracts, 10 contracts, 20 contracts, 30, 50, so on and so forth. That's when you're really trucking along, and you can get an idea of when is that going to be by looking here. How many months is that going to be? How many weeks is that going to be? So if I want to look at that and say how long it's going to take me to get, 20 contracts, I could pop in, okay, here's 20 contracts. Take me about 66 trading days to get there, something like that. So about 3 months, a little over 3 months to get that mark. You could play around with slowing down your profit expectations, increasing your profit expectations, which I wouldn't, but it's up to you. On this particular example, I start taking half my profits out here after about 6 months. So yeah, but you can see, you can, even if you are on the slow growth train like I am, and you start slowing down, and you slow down even more as you get to bigger and bigger numbers, the numbers still end up being stupid. 4 years, $5 million. And that's really taking a highly conservative approach. The numbers get stupid. And this does all the work for you. So you can know, by this date, whatever this date is, okay, if I still want to make 1.5%, but I'm at a 20 wide spread, what number do I need to aim for? 30 cents. You can come over here to your software. You can go to your trades. You can do a 20 wide spread, which is 10, 15, 20. That's a 4-strike spread. Come over here and pop that in. You can find a 30-cent trade for 1 DTE. That's going to be right here, so you don't have to do a whole bunch of, laboring around or any of that stuff to figure out what you need to do and where you need to trade. It's all in the sheet, right? Now you don't have to do any of the math or anything like that. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit more. And then once you get to these larger numbers, that's when you can start breaking stuff off to different tranches. I wouldn't put all my money in one strategy either. So that's when you start doing the wheels. That's when you start doing the weeklies and the monthly trades. That's when you start going into the leaps. That's when you start traditional investing, putting money into, you know, a 401k, an IRA, a Roth, all that kind of stuff. That's when you start funneling money off to different diverse investments. And taking those proceeds and those profits and really securing your wealth and doing something smart with it. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to talk that a little bit. Guys, if you have any comments, questions, thoughts on this, I really want to hear from you, see what you think. What would you do? What's your profitability marks? Do you think I'm too conservative? What would you do in these situations? What numbers would you put in the sheet? How much would you save as you're going through this? When would you start saving? I want to know all of that and what your thoughts are on all of those situations and kind of see where you guys are at, because this is really just me doing my thing, right? So we're a community. I really want to hear from you guys. Leave some of that stuff in the comments and let's generate some conversation around those subjects and what you're doing for your generational growth, your generational wealth and your compound growth. This right here is only a part of my picture. I've got other things working in the background as well that is going to feed this as well, and, you know, kind of set some of these compounding figures a little bit more on fire from stuff that I'm generating outside of trading as well. So I want to hear what you guys are doing to generate your stuff. Let's talk about it in the comments, okay? And if I don't see you or hear from you, or you don't hear from me for the next couple of days or weeks or whatever, I want to wish you guys happy holidays and a happy new year. And let's make next year successful, guys. Let's go get them.
Don't forget to like, comment any questions below, and hit the bell icon for posting notifications so you don't miss out.